Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'll be going through the players sort of on the research page and going through who I have sort of gone against, plotted against, I guess, as there is some big names here, or high percentage names by coaches selected, and they're not in my side, some of them. So we'll go through that. We'll go through the reasoning behind a lot of the players, especially because there is some players that I alluded to in my previous video, my team reveal 4.0 this time, that sort of missed out, and they're mainly due to, I think, fixturing as well, just being on the double. Some of them are because they're not on the double, they're only on the single, like a lot of the Hobart guys. You've got Matt Short as well. Who else? Well, Mitch Marsh is away anyway, but there's some other guys, and then also there is some guys that are still on the double, like they're both on a double, and then one guy just has a double in the future, and one guy just doesn't have a double and just has complete singles. You can probably tell who that is, the pair of them that I'm alluding to, as I did allude to them in the previous video. But anyway, before we get into this video, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload, and let's get into the video. So, as you can see here, here is the screen. Do I need to make this bigger for you guys? There we go, that's bigger, that should be viewable there. So Maxwell is almost 70% owned. That is ridiculous. And the good thing is here, you can actually see with 70% ownership at around 28k, that means we're touching on about 40,000 players, which is pretty good actually for the absolute chaos that has been this year. We probably will start losing the players if there is more chaos, like that there seems to be every year with international players, as well as PM's 11 did come at a great time, and obviously the Aussie internationals sort of changing things up in the first round with the Heat and the Sixers sort of hasn't helped either. So you got Maxwell, Philippi at 51% owned. I'm shocked that he's probably this high, but I think when you're a former player of the year, there is a certain I guess, sort of expectation for him to return to that form. I mean, he had, I think, what was it, one blip season? If we actually look down at his stats, 33 last year. If we look at his 21-22, 58, 56. So, I mean, he should be able to return to that form. I mean, he hasn't been in good form in the One Day Cup and stuff like that. But I'm pretty sure if you were to look at his sort of club side form, I wouldn't be surprised if it's returned back to normal. I'm just going to quickly look it up as we go through. Ben McDermott at 49%. I think he sort of has the same principle as Philippi. They have very similar schedules, so I think you could also look at that the same way, as I do think he is going to be of value. I'm just trying to find where is he. Let's look at the round 6 for them, as I'm pretty sure he comes up in the Scarborough team for round 6. Philippi, his 276 runs at 16. That is not the best, to be honest with you. First grade stats, he's got 13 runs at 4, which is not good at all. And then the T20 stats for club, he's got 8 runs, so he is not in good form at all. His Sheffield Shield stats is averaging 9, and his One Day Cup stats, he's averaging 35. So you're basically banking on 2 good innings there in the One Day Cup, else he's averaging like single figures. So that really does not give me confidence, but I mean, running with the crowd on him is probably the best way to go. So we'll see about that anyway. Darcy Short, I think we talked about him enough in the previous video. Stoinis, 39% owned, and this is the first guy, the highest owned guy that I am going against, and I just don't like his role. Batting at 5. Probably not going to bowl terribly much, at least not for the economy rate bonus, so I'm not liking it, and I can also just pick him up later as we look here. Back to this slide here, you see Melbourne Stars, double, no game, double, nothing, double. So if he plays well in round 1, I can just pick him up in round 3, hold him round 4, and play him in round 5, and then play him in the singles if he's so good. But that sort of depends. But yeah, I'm looking at this and thinking he probably will he will probably come into my side anyway in this rounds 3 to 5, as he has 5 games in 3 rounds. But yeah, I'm just looking at that thinking he probably does get it. So I'm just looking here. They should have another buy somewhere here, shouldn't they? I'm pretty sure they should have another buy. Have I just stuffed up the Melbourne Stars schedule? Because they have 3 doubles but only 1 buy, and they've got 2. Yeah, I think they should have another buy in here. Let me just check. When is that buy that they're supposed to have? I might have to go onto here and just check, because I swear they're supposed to have a buy. Don't play round 2. We said double in round 3, single in round 4, double in round 5, nothing in round 6. So there is your problem. There is the problem. So round 6 they don't play. So that sort of changes everything up. By here and by here. And so that changes just to think a couple things up. So good thing I caught that, as that would sort of change up the whole structure. So yeah, no, that might not actually change the structure up too much, but it may mean that instead of doing this, we do that, something or other like that. And then I just go something or other like that. Something like that, for instance. So at least we fixed that. So I'll have to update that, as clearly that was wrong. So let me just save that anyway. Doesn't look like I've actually saved it. Anyway, I'll save that after this video. But good thing we caught that. And so, yes, so Stoinis probably still comes in, but it is probably one of the guys that goes straight back out, as Maxwell is probably the only guy that you want to hold on the on that buy, as he's just going to be so valuable. So if you just go back to here, so Stoinis, Zampa, I'm playing over the likes of who is it again? Majib. Majib is the other guy that you could you'll sort of probably see around 50% ownership from those two combined, I would say. Where is he? He's all the way down here. He's actually down, where is he? Nathan Lyon's higher owned than Majib. That is ridiculous. Majib at 7.5%, that is well too low. But yeah, just going with the crowd, as I think Majib at 7.5%, I don't think he's going to kill you as much if he goes off, compared to if you go Majib and Zampa goes off. I think it's going to kill you a lot. So just playing with the crowd a little bit on this 50-50. Nessa, he's in, so he's probably going to skyrocket more, and I reckon he'll probably end up around that 39-40% by game day. Swepson, don't think he even plays. That's a thing with the squads, and surprised he's still at 36%, as I don't think he'll be in any of the teams. Sam Billings, 35%, we know that. Matt Short, 35% owned on a single. I understand why some people are holding him for the double, but I just think that's too much cash up in the bench, as there's so much value at like 80-90k, as I've shown in my team reveal. That's and also the plan to go Richardson to Short. It's just, I think, a better plan than holding Short, to be honest with you. Hardy, 33% owned. I can understand that. Potentially, if Nessa doesn't play, Hardy will be the guy that I go for. And potentially, if the forecast for Adelaide gets any worse, like gets towards that 50, 60, 70 mils, and starts to even out as an all-day rain spot, then I'll potentially just go Hardy over Nessa. Munro there, and Munro will potentially become a captain, or potentially just go Jai Richardson as a captain, to be honest with you. Munro, 32% owned. Yeah, he's going to be crucial, I think, just because he plays the triple. Fraser McGurk is one that I've sort of looked at, but I actually like the looks of Edwards more. If we go here and I quickly just look behind type this behind my webcam, you can see 4% owned for Edwards. I think that is serially low, to be honest with you, and get out of Edwards, clear that filter. And then we go down. So Fraser McGurk, I think Edwards should be higher owned than Fraser McGurk, as Edwards did bowl in the trial game, got 20 runs as well, so potentially that's on for a SuperCoach bonus if he does that in their games, with the strike rate bonus. and 4 overs. I think it was 1 for 16. That would get him 25 points. 45. I think he had about a 70-point trial game at least. So that was just really crucial. And so that's why I would go with Jack Edwards potentially if I don't like Madison. So yeah, there is a potential for me just to go Jack Edwards in that sort of batter slot and go Cooper Connolly as well and get rid of Madison, as it would mean I'd have to trade in another Renegades guy, which sort of would put me back on, and that's sort of why I've tempted not to do with the Edwards, just because I think that it would put me a trade behind, but Edwards could easily just be a massive cash cow that I miss out on, so I might want to just go with that and not go with Madison. Fraser McGurk, Quinton Cox, and the good thing about that is I can wait a day for that manoeuvre and wait for the team list to come out, wait for the squads to be announced at the toss for the Renegades and Sixers game before I go, I want Connolly and I want Edwards over Madison and also Connolly. So that would put me 25 more K back in the bank, and that would leave me 40K, which would allow me to go up to probably Payne, Agar and Short for round 2, which would get me, I think, ahead, as well as Edwards being a massive cash gen. DeCock, I don't know why people own him. He's out for the first 2 games. Just don't think he's worthwhile. Sam Whiteman, Spencer Johnson is there was massive red flags with him. He said something about him getting an injection, which was, in my eyes, basically saying I'm going to be managed without explicitly saying I'm going to be managed. So there's that reason why I'm not going for him. Connolly, I think he's an absolute star, and I think he's going to break out this year, so that's why I'm going with him. Tanvi Sanger, 24%, is just because of that round 4 game, and you can get one Thunder guy on the board, and he's so highly undervalued that getting him in now, you may make 20K before he even steps on the field. And just with the way that I remember I had a debate with the Siddle versus Tanvi Sanger, and it looks like Tanvi Sanger is coming out on top just because the way it's sort of coming in now with further info, it looks awfully like that Siddle's not going to play all 5, to be honest with you. Looking at that in depth, he's probably going to play, I would say 3. I think he's going to play 3 out of the 5, but he's not going to play 5. And Tanvir Sanger on 3 and Siddle on 3. I'm taking Tanvir Sanger for that double in round 4, which is just going to put him over the edge. Sutherland, we came to this debate with Sean Abbott, and you can see here, very, very similar. Very, very similar. And the one reason that Will Sutherland gets over Sean Abbott, even though I think Sean Abbott will outscore him by 20 points or 10 points in the first week, is just that double in round 3. Being able to gear up for that double is going to be huge. So I'm thinking into the future with this trade. And as you can see here with the projected scores, they're around 20 different in the break-even and the projected. So I'm losing probably 20 points here with going Sutherland, but I'm gaining it back because he has that double. And that's how it will be. And so effectively I'm saying a trade is worth more than 20 points. And I think that's evident with a lot of the way that people will trade. So that's why I'm going Sutherland over Abbott. Daniel Sams here. I think he's just way too highly owned for being a single gamer. And I think Tanvir Sanger is the guy that you want to stash on your bench rather than Daniel Sams. Peter Siddle, we talked about him. Josh Inglis could be valuable, but I think he'll be more valuable when we flick over to the round 6-7. As we go over here, you'll see here the round 6-7. You can just see he's going to be more valuable in this stretch here with Josh Inglis, Hardy, Connolly, Jai Richardson. Potentially those are the 4 that I'll go. Something like that. But you can just see how much more valuable he'd be then. Kuhneman, if you wanted to go him over Paul Walter, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm just going Paul Walter just because of that. I think there is definitely value in those guys that bat 6-7 and can bowl 3. And I think that is more of what Walter will provide. I think he will get the strike rate bonus with the batting potentially. And also be maybe 1 wicket less than Kuhneman and maybe a little bit less on the economy rate. But I just think that there is more value in Walter, who has that batting exploit over Kuhneman with the bowling. Agar should be back, so he'll be valuable potentially come round 6-7, same as Inglis. Chowdhury, I understand why he's there. I'm just not going for a loop at the moment. There is a potential for me to get a loop later on in the year, but not at the moment, as there is... Most of my guys will actually turn into loops. I mean, you see here, there's a loop here, loop here, loop here, loop here, loop potential here, loop potential here. The only loop I don't have is in round 8. So that's why I'm not going with a loop at the moment, because there's just, you have loops here. And also you can see here with the Brisbane Heat, I'll probably collect a loop in here anyway, somewhere in here. Potentially going a 3 and collecting a loop. And then going 2 here and not getting a Brisbane Heat guy, getting all the value. So you want all the value onto the field at this point in time for the last round. But I don't see there being much potential. I'm losing one round, potentially 20 or 30 points. And also it's the fact that it's hard to actually say that this guy is definitely going to outscore. As I've said this whole preseason, a guy on a triple is going to outscore a guy on a double after one game potentially, or maybe 2. I just cannot say to myself that that's actually going to happen. So that's why I'm going with the no loop and gunning it on Nessa, which will potentially even just drop to Richardson if that weather does turn sour. And that'll potentially, I don't think it will turn into the likes of a Sean Abbott, but could easily turn into the likes of a Sean Abbott if Nessa is, if that rain does start to come in and that Walter maybe even is turned around to someone else. But there is potential changes at the last minute. But at the moment, that's what we're running. Mitchell Marsh, away with the test squad. That 18% is probably just dead teams. Richardson, 18%. I'm with you guys on this one. I do like Richardson. And that straight swap to short is very enticing. Matthew Wade, 16%. Just on a single, don't know why people would select him. Josh Brown not selected in the 14 to start, so that pretty much kills off him. So I'd be trading him out immediately. Harry Nielsen, I can understand the dead wicketkeeper slot, but I think, I think McDermott's more value, and I think there's more value in the all-rounders section of the batters to be able to select a keeper that is more valuable, like McDermott, and go for 60k guys in 62.5 to 70k guys in the batter slots there to make that up. Walter, 13%, can understand that as well with me going for him. I heard a rumour that Hayden Coe's actually injured with a side injury, so he's potentially out. Not 100% sure about that, so just watch that. As that may be a trade for a lot of you guys early, or just a swap out there. Clark, understandable with the likes of Quinton de Kock out. I just think I'll be gathering him for the Melbourne Renegades double here, or him or Quinton de Kock will come in here, I reckon. But that's that. Mackenzie, I don't think he gets into the starting side, and at 42k he is a downgrade target if he does actually get on, because if he gets on and plays, even though he's got a double, he's got 27, so he's at a 13.5 for his break even. Him and the likes of Solzman and stuff like that, if they get a game, they could easily smack that break even, get into a negative break even, and a negative break even will be huge for these guys. Harper, going well. I think he will be valuable later on in the year, but I understand why some people are going for him. I just think you can get the loop out of Maxwell. You don't need him. Ty, Berendorf, Menenti, Finch, understandable. Ty and Berendorf, I can see if you don't like the likes of Nessa, so that would be the reason probably for these guys. Menenti, you can see basically all bench. Finch, I just think you just don't need him at the moment. Tim David, single game week. Hale, single game week, and Hale's out of form, I believe. Bo Webster, Prime Minister 11, not good enough to be playing, as I think he misses both potentially, or just potentially misses one. I believe he misses one game. If we look at the game weeks, we go here, you see that they... he misses the first game, so there's no point. Webster, I forgot that they played Melbourne first game, so Webster misses first game, so that makes him negligible pretty much. And if I just quickly go through here and just go here, you'll see no one else here really is of use, I don't think. And I think if you actually go through my side here and you go through the list, you'll see that Nick Manetson, I believe, is the lowest owned player at 1%, I want to say. Nick Manetson at 6%. I got rid of a 1%er, and 10% from Menenti, Walter 13, Jybritz an 18. So a lot of my team is very, very common, but I think you're going to see that with most players being very, very common, and there's sort of a couple of players here that will be sort of different. But anyway, that pretty much is the video there. Another video out. And that'll be the last video before the game review for the first game of the week with Brisbane and Melbourne Stars. So this is just a final sort of good luck for everyone for the BBL season. Go get that 25k, try and challenge me and the other content creators. As you would have seen, if I go over to my Twitter here quickly and grab it up, like a lot of the boys here that are on the SuperCoach scene, you know, get around them and sort of remember to follow like Podmasters, Dr. Kando, and also me on Twitter, just so that you can get some updates. You guys will need to keep up with me on Twitter for the times that I'm away, as I won't be able to record. But so yeah, just keep up with a lot of the boys on Twitter, and you should be able to get good content with the players missing and stuff like that, and all the trade news and trade targets, etc. But anyway, that pretty much wraps up the pre-season for BBL, and let's get into the season. So anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.